Discovered, the incredible Maid's heartwarming song transformed a cowboy's life and his daughter. In the small, dusty town of Fort Sage, the air was thick with the kind of longing that only dreams deferred could cause. Emma, a 35-year-old maid, moved through the grand halls of the Harrington mansion, each sweeping stroke a reminder of her place in the world. But it was her voice clear and sweet that carried the weight of her unyielding spirit. Day after day, she hummed old melodies, songs she once sang beneath the Texas stars, reminding her of days filled with promise. Lily, the cheerful daughter of local cowboy Jake, would often sneak into the mansion, her bright eyes filled with hope and wonder. "Emma, you make the house feel alive," she'd say, almost reverently. Emma would smile, but her heart ached with the knowledge that their dreams felt worlds apart. Jake, with the rugged hands of a man who worked the land, was struggling to keep their family farm afloat against the tide of despair that swept over the town. "Emma," Lily would whisper, her voice trembling, "what if we flew away on a star someday?" Emma's heart tightened like a noose as she listened to the child's dreams, always staying just out of reach. Could she offer Lily any real comfort when her own spirit felt so exhausted? It was county fair season, and the townsfolk buzzed with excitement, their laughter spilling into the Texas air. The fair brought sometimes fleeting moments of joy, but this year also heralded a daunting decision for Jake. As rumors spread about his intention to sell the farm, the golden fields glimmered with sorrow instead of hope. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the evening wore on, the fair twinkled with lights, enveloping the crowd in an embrace of camaraderie. Emma wiped her hands on her apron, feeling the nerves pulse through her with every note she practiced just outside the chaos. Then suddenly, swept by inspiration, she took a deep breath and stepped onto the makeshift stage. As Emma began to sing, her voice rang out, a melodic echo that cut through the noise. Each note was infused with the pain of her past, the dreams she believed she had lost. The townsfolk paused, drawn into her world, adults and children alike, captivated by the warmth and vulnerability of her music. Even Jake looked up, his heart clenching, feeling the shadows of his worries slowly lifting. In that moment, the melody wove itself into the fabric of their collective hopes, igniting something deep within Jake. He felt a flicker of what he fought for, the love for his daughter, the pride of his home, reminding him that the land held more than just crops. But as the last note hung in the air, surrounded by silence, Jake found himself at a crossroads, torn between his darndest fears and dreams. Could he let the weight of his decision crush him? Emma's song had unleashed something stirred deep within, the possibility of a community that still cared, where hope can take root. With uncertainty hanging in the air like the dust around him, Jake needed to find out what he truly valued. His heart was a battlefield now, and the shadows of doubt loomed high. Would he embrace this newfound desire sparked by a humble Maid's song, or would he let the fears of a harsh world dictate his choices? The horizon shimmered with promise, but the answer dangled just beyond reach, leaving everyone anxious for the next chapter of their intertwined fates. As the fair came to a close, the air buzzed with the echoes of laughter and the distant sounds of children still at play. Yet, for Jake, the enchanting fervor had been overshadowed by the haunting weight of his thoughts. Around him, people cheered and celebrated, but he stood still, feeling like a solitary figure adrift in a sea of happiness. Emma's song lingered in his mind, a soft melody that stirred old desires he had buried deep. Standing at the edge of the departing crowd, he watched Lily's face light up as she waved farewell to Emma. "She's amazing, isn't she?" The little girl beamed, her voice filled with innocent admiration. Her joy should have warmed his heart, but instead, it gnawed at his conscience. Would he be able to provide her a future here? Or was it time to watch the fields he loved slip through his fingers? Jake turned to Lily, her eyes sparkling under the faint glow of the fair's lights. Sweetheart, do you want to go see Emma? Maybe she'll sing another song for us. Lily's face brightened with excitement. Yes. Please. The two hurried back, the hopeful rhythm of their feet matching the flutters of Jake's heart. When they approached, Emma stood beside the stage, her face lit by the soft glow of lanterns, a gentle smile still etched on her lips. It wasn't just her voice that drew him in, it was the way her spirit seemed to brighten even the darkest corners of his world. That was beautiful, Emma, he managed, swallowing the lump that had formed in his throat. You took us somewhere special tonight. Emma smiled, her eyes glistening with kindness and something else, something deeper. There was an unspoken connection that simmered just beneath the surface. Thank you, Jake. It's the kind words and smiles that keep me going, she replied, glancing at Lily, who was bouncing on her toes in anticipation. And of course, it's the hope in young hearts like Lily's. Yet beneath her composed exterior, Jake sensed threads of vulnerability. It was as if she had woven her own struggles into her songs, fashioning a resilience that resonated with his own turmoil. Suddenly, the idea of leaving the farm felt more unbearable as he was reminded of the hope they shared. Emma, he hesitated, words choking him, if you could ever sing like that again for us, I promise to support you. And, if I fight for the farm, I could use that inspiration. The look in Emma's eyes was a mix of surprise and understanding, but before she could respond, a loud commotion broke out, drawing their attention toward the center of the fairgrounds. A group of men was shouting, their fists thumping against each other, anger igniting in the weary atmosphere. The crowd began to pulse, some backing away, the mood shifting like a storm brewing over the horizon. Jake's heart raced. This was the kind of turmoil he had tried to shield Lily from. He turned to Emma and Lily, urgency lacing his voice. Stay close to me. As he moved protectively between the girls and the chaos, he felt the echoes of Emma's song flooding his heart again, a reminder that even amid chaos, hope might prevail, but what could he do? The weight of his decisions pressed down on him as the townspeople murmured and tensions rose. This was becoming more than just about the farm, it was about standing up for their lives, their dreams, and nurturing the connection they had forged. Would he fight not just for himself or his daughter, but for that bright spirit that somehow had ignited in Emma? The ground began to tremble beneath Jake's feet, the air thick with anticipation and fear. As he decided to step forward into the fray, something shifted within him. The crossroads had arrived, but this time, it wasn't just about choosing a path. It was about finding the courage to stand firm. As the confrontation escalated, would Jake soften the edges of discontent with the strength of his love? Or would the fear of failing his family drown out the melody of hope Emma had rekindled? The answer awaited just beyond the chaos, ready to change everything. The shouts grew louder, a cacophony that tugged at Jake's heart. He could feel the heat of anger rising from the crowd, mingling with the sweet scent of corn dogs and funnel cakes that lingered in the air. He instinctively stepped forward, shielding Emma and Lily with his body. As he turned to them, he saw a flicker of fear in Lily's eyes, which pierced through him like an arrow. It's okay, sweetheart. Just stay close, he whispered, his voice steadying. The crowd was a living thing, thrumming with energy, and Jake could feel it pulling him into the turmoil. He glanced at Emma, who stood firm beside him, her eyes wide yet resolute. She adjusted her posture, the calmness of her spirit pushing against the chaos swirling around them. Suddenly, one of the men shouting drew nearer, a burly silhouette striding toward Jake with rage etched on his face. This is our town, our livelihood. You can't just waltz in here and take it from us. The man pointed an accusatory finger, an embodiment of all Jake feared about fighting. Wait! Jake called out, his mind racing. How could he turn this around? How could he calm the storm? The man stopped, confusion flickering across his features, but the tension still hung heavy. What do you know about our struggle? Jake took a breath. His heart banged like a drum in his chest. I know what it's like to fight for what you love. I'm not here to take anything from you. I'm here because I care about my family, my daughter, and I want to contribute to this community, not tear it apart. Lily tugged at his sleeve, whispering, "Daddy, please don't fight." Her small voice broke through the haze, and Jake felt a rush of protectiveness swell within him. "I'm not going to let anyone hurt you," he reassured her, his fierce love igniting a fire in his soul. He turned back to the crowd, his voice gaining strength. "We can find a way to work together. We can find hope." He could see the doubt in their eyes, a mixture of anger and curiosity. He was standing at a precipice, one wrong step and he could be pushed straight into chaos. But the lilt of Emma's melody gripped his spirit, reminding him that strength wasn't just in fighting but in the courage to reach out, to connect. "Why don't we share our stories?" Jake shouted, desperation in his voice. "What if we can bring our dreams together, instead of letting our fears drive us apart?" His words lingered in the air, wrapping around the crowd. The murmurs cascaded through the bystanders, transforming hostility into tempered curiosity. Emma took a step forward, her presence calming. "Jake's right. We're all just trying to find our way. Let us talk. Let us find that common ground." The unyielding man scoffed but hesitated, the fierceness in his stare softening just a fraction. "And why should we trust you?" "Because I believe in hope," Jake replied, the truth radiating from his heart. "And I believe a community can lift each other, even when the world feels like it's pushing us down." The crowd's rhythm shifted. Jake noticed some people nodding, others exchanging glances. The tension, although still present, was punctured with a flicker of possibility. Would they hear him out? With his heart pounding, Jake realized that standing firm meant believing not just in their fight but in the people around him. He had planted a seed of hope, but now, would it blossom? As the crowd murmured and shifted, anticipation woven through the air, he waited, wondering if they would open their hearts to a new beginning, to a possibility where Emma's song could guide them all home. But just then, a loud crash erupted from the side of the fairgrounds, a tension shattering the moment he had hoped would unify them. What had happened? Would the crowd fracture again, or would they come together at last? A collective gasp rippled through the crowd as the sound of splintering wood echoed across the fairgrounds. Jake spun around, heart racing, and his instincts kicked in. He could hardly process what had happened, but the sudden shift in focus was palpable. A rustic wooden stand had toppled over, sending stacks of prizes spilling onto the ground. Plush toys and bright carnival games lay scattered like fallen soldiers. All eyes turned toward the chaos, the anger bubbling again, replaced momentarily by concern. What the hell happened? The burly man shouted, his hostility rekindled. Jake's heart beat heavily against his ribs. He knew emotions were fragile, like glass. This could easily shatter the fragile moment they'd built. "Let us check it out before pointing fingers," he said, his voice bridging the distance between confusion and fear. Miraculously, the crowd stirred with a shared purpose. They moved as a mass, a current of curiosity driving them forward. Jake felt the weight of his daughter's gentle hand clasping his tightly, her small fingers digging into his palm for reassurance. He bent down to look her in the eyes. "Stay with me, Lily. No matter what. Promise, Daddy," she whispered, determination brimming in her expression. As they drew closer to the fallen stand, a flicker of movement caught Jake's attention. A young woman with streaks of vibrant blue in her hair was crouched beside the wreckage, hastily gathering up the toys. She wore an oversized hoodie that swallowed her slight frame, and her face wore a mask of concentration tinged with worry. "Are you okay?" Jake asked, approaching her cautiously. She looked up, eyes wide, the spark of fear quickly fading into relief as she recognized the friendly face amidst the crowd. "Yeah, I'm fine. She gestured around. "This stupid stand fell, and now everything's a mess." Jake's gaze met hers, and he saw more than just a flustered girl among the chaos. There was a fire in her spirit, reminiscent of Emma's resilience. It ignited his own determination. "We need to get these cleaned up. Can you help me?" The woman nodded eagerly, and the sense of unity seemed to unfurl around them. One by one, others began to lend a hand, motivated by a shared desire to make things right. It transformed the atmosphere. From anger to collaboration, the crowd began to connect in a way Jake hadn't envisioned just moments earlier. "See?" Jake called out to the burly man. "Together, we can fix this. Let us not just stand here arguing. Let us show everyone what our community looks like, even when things fall apart." As the man processed this, Jake caught a glimpse of Emma, standing among the crowd, a soft light in the storm. She met his gaze and offered a hopeful smile. Then, just as they began to lift the stand back into place, a loud whistle cut through the air. A rusted carnival whistle that belonged to an older man observing from the sidelines. He clapped and grinned, the wrinkles on his face dancing with joy. "That's it. Let us make this a day to remember for all of us." The energy rippled through the crowd as they joined in the fun, laughter cutting through the tension. Jake felt hope flooding his heart. Maybe, just maybe, they could come together not just to clean up a mess but to actually forge bonds that would last. "Take a moment." The woman called out, hoisting up a giant plush bear, "Who wants to help create a memory?" Hands shot up, weaving connection among strangers. The young woman began to lead an impromptu game of toss with the plush toys, laughter echoing. Jake joined in, realizing that in the chaos, they had found a moment of joy, a pathway toward healing. But just as the joy began to swell, a loud voice shouted from the crowd. "What's next?" A challenge laced with expectation, cutting through the laughter. Jake glanced at Emma, and the determined fire igniting within him burned brighter. What could ignite their hearts next? What was just around the corner waiting to be discovered? Jake felt a pulse of excitement rise in his chest. The crowd's energy shifted into something new, a collective anticipation that felt electric. What came next could shape the day into something more, something unforgettable. He scanned the gathering, looking for ideas, inspiration. "Maybe we could set up a game," the young woman suggested, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "What about a tug-of-war?" "Great idea," Lily shouted, her face lighting up. She tugged on Jake's hand, her enthusiasm infectious. "All right, let us grab some rope," Jake called out, rallying the crowd. With a mix of laughter and shouts, they began searching for rope, anything that could serve as a makeshift tether. A few older kids darted off to find their parents, while others rifled through the scattered prizes still lying about. "What's happening?" Emma's voice danced through the cheerful chaos. She approached Jake with a curious smile. "We're setting up a tug-of-war," he said, feeling a swell of pride. "Let us get everyone involved." She nodded eagerly, her eyes already searching for volunteers among the crowd. Jake watched as people began to organize. Imported from forgotten corners of their childhoods, memories of fair games surged back. Laughter and shouts of encouragement filled the air, echoing through the fairgrounds. The ground tingled with joyful energy. As they tied pieces of rope together, Jake overheard snippets of conversations, families and friends reconnecting in the spirit of fun. The burly man who initially grumbled stood towering over the grouping participants, now beaming with sonorous encouragement. "You all have to get ready. We're not losing to the other side." Jake exchanged a grin with the woman who had helped him gather the toys, her determination working its magic on the crowd. "We might just be unexpected champions," she quipped back. "Looks like we have enough space to split into 2 teams," Emma announced, waving her arms like an air traffic controller. Her laughter rang out, a sound Jake felt in his bones, the excitement built up, a palpable tension. Moments later, 2 teams formed, each side gripping the knotted rope, faces flushed with anticipation. A countdown began. 1, 2, 3. With a primal roar, both sides tugged. Laughter erupted as bodies swayed and stumbled, the crowd erupting in cheers. The burly man, a ridiculous grin plastered across his face, dug his feet in like an immovable mountain. Midway through the match, Jake felt his heart skip a beat as Lily, in her boundless enthusiasm, lunged forward to pull with all her might. Her tiny frame took Jake by surprise as she rallied her team. "Come on, we can do it. Use your strength," she echoed, her voice rising above the noise. Emboldened by her spirit, Jake pulled harder, but his attention drifted to the crowd. Their faces were radiant with joy, united in laughter, sharing something real amid the fair's remnants. Just as the rope started to slip from his grip, a different sound rose, a melodic tune breaking through the crowd's cheers. It flowed like a gentle breeze, weaving around them, capturing everyone's attention. Jake turned to see the young woman, her earlier energy transformed into something soothing and warm. She sang with an effortless grace, her voice blending perfectly with the ambient sounds of laughter. "What is this?" Jake thought. It felt like she had pulled on a string deep within him, prompting him to remember the beauty that lay within these moments. Amidst the competition, there was a deeper connection forming, a rhythm tying them together, a melody intertwining with their shared laughter and camaraderie. As the tug-of-war ended with shouts of good-natured defeat and victory, the young woman continued to sing, her confident voice drawing in more curious listeners. It was a moment that felt alive, electric, almost miraculous. The crowd swayed as her song unfolded, and Jake marveled at the transformation from chaos to unity, but as the song lingered in the air, an unsettling feeling crept up. Jake could sense something deeper in her song, a hidden story waiting to be unveiled. What had she seen? What journey brought her here, singing to a group of strangers on this very day? He felt an urgent need to know. What secrets lay behind that soothing voice, and how could all of this bring them closer together? Jake felt the warmth of the crowd seep into him as the last notes of the young woman's song faded. There was a palpable buzz in the air, a lingering connection forged through shared laughter, song, and the simplicity of tugging a rope. But beneath that feeling was a longing for something deeper. He needed to understand the depth of the woman's voice, the story hidden underneath each note. As the crowd dispersed, drawn in different directions, he noticed her sitting on a hay bale, her guitar resting against her knee. She looked as though she was lost in thought, her fingers idly tracing the strings. Jake hesitated, a mix of excitement and nerves fluttering in his chest. Finding the courage, he walked over. "Hey," he said, a little unsure of how to start. "Your singing, it was beautiful." She looked up, surprise flashing in her eyes. A small smile broke over her face. "Thanks. I just, wanted to share a little joy." "I think you succeeded," Jake replied, a smile of his own creeping onto his face. "But I have to ask, what inspired that song? There was something in it, something more than just a tune." She hesitated, and for a moment, the cheerful buzz of the fair faded into the background. "It's a song about hope, about moving through tough times. I came from a place where music tamed wild emotions. I've lost a lot, but I believe in healing through melody." Her words gripped him, resonating with something in his own heart. Jake saw flashes of his own struggles rising just beneath the surface, old wounds waiting for light and air. "I understand." It came out softly, more a whisper than a statement. "I've had my share of loss, and finding joy again feels almost impossible sometimes." She nodded, appreciating his honesty. "Music helps. It's like a bridge to other people. It connects us, reminds us we're not alone." Jake gazed over at the remaining crowd, still buzzing with energy. Children were scooping up cotton candy, parents chatted animatedly, laughter ringing out like clear bells. But among all the joy, there were whispers of stories untold, struggles hidden behind each smile. "What is your name?" he asked, hoping to anchor this moment. "Callie," she said, her voice warm and open. "And you're Jake, right? I've seen you rallying everyone. It was your idea to start the games." "Yeah, that was me," he chuckled lightly, feeling the weight of his responsibilities float away, even if just for a moment. It felt right to bring everyone together. "Well, you did more than that. You sparked something. Everyone needed it." She smiled again, and Jake's heart fluttered. Every interaction felt charged between them, as if the universe had shifted just so they could be here. Jake didn't want this moment to slip away. Would you sing it again? Just for me? Callie's laughter filled the space, sunlight dancing over the fairgrounds. You want me to sing a private concert? He chuckled in return. Just one song, please. I feel like there's magic in your music. As she picked up her guitar, Jake leaned in closer, heart racing with anticipation. What would her song reveal? Would it offer him a glimpse into her world? Callie began strumming, the melody weaving through the air, wrapping around them like an embrace. The sound transformed everything, as if time stood still. Each chord pulled on Jake's heartstrings, awakening memories, dreams, and hopes long buried, but it was more than just a song. A flicker of light shone in Callie's eyes. Something profound was starting to blossom. As he watched her sing, confidence radiating from her, he felt drawn to the depths of her spirit. And then, a shadow flickered across her expression. Maybe it was just the fading daylight, but Jake could feel a shift. Was there more to her story? A darkness that contrasted with the light she illuminated? As her voice trailed off, he wondered if he was about to discover something incredible, an unexpected revelation that could intertwine their paths forever. What secrets would Callie reveal? What journey could bring them together in ways they hadn't yet imagined? Callie's voice fell silent, the final chord hanging in the air like a promise, a whisper of a story she hadn't yet told. She gazed at Jake, the warmth of his presence grounding her momentarily, but a shadow flickered in her eyes, hinting at a past tied not just to loss, but to resilience. Wow, Jake finally said, his voice soft, almost reverent. I felt that in my bones. But, there's more, SNT there. I don't want to pry, but you were somewhere else while you were singing. She took a deep breath, the evening air cool against her skin. Yeah, there's always more under the surface. You see, it's not just about the music, it's everything that comes with it. I carry stories around, Jake, stories of my family, my struggles. Music is my way of processing it all. Jake shifted closer, the fading light wrapping them in a cocoon. I know how that feels, he admitted. Some days, the weight feels unbearable. It can be so hard to share our stories. Callie nodded, the corners of her mouth tilting upwards as if she were offering a private invitation. It's easier when someone is willing to listen. The moment felt charged, barely teetering on the edge of uncharted emotions. Jake could tell that few people had asked Callie about her life, or at least, cared enough to truly listen. I want to listen, he said gently, his sincerity carving a path between them. Tell me about your song, your journey. Callie glanced away, her guitar resting heavily in her lap. It started in a small town, where life was simple, but not easy. We were happy, but my family faced some tough challenges. I lost my father to illness when I was young. Music became my refuge. Her voice trembled slightly. It was my way to cope. When I sing, I feel closer to him, like he is still here with me. Jake felt the weight of her words. That's beautiful. And so incredibly brave. I lost my daughter a few years back. It took everything in me to try and find the joy again. He paused, his chest tightening with emotions long suppressed. But hearing you sing today, it was like a spark. Callie met his gaze, an understanding passing between them. Grief is a heavy thing to carry. But sometimes, sharing it makes it a little lighter. Their eyes locked in that moment, time receding as if the rest of the fair faded into oblivion. Jake was drawn to her, feeling an unexpected kinship emerge from their shared losses. What was your father's favorite song? He asked, curious to know more about the man behind the music that shaped Callie's heart. Her smile warmed the chill in the evening air. He loved Take Me Home, Country Roads. It reminded him of his childhood, of places he missed. I think it felt like a reminder that home was more of a feeling than a physical place. She bit her lip, hesitant. One day, I want to sing it at his grave to tell him that I'm okay. Jake felt the pull, the deep connection that formed between them. Let us make a deal. When that day comes, I'll be there. I'll play guitar for you. Together we'll share that moment. Callie's eyes widened, vulnerability shining through. You do that? Absolutely. We all need someone to stand by us. Silence enveloped them, rich with promises and possibilities. Jake's heart raced as he pondered the depth of their connection. What had begun as a chance encounter was now something that felt profound, possibly even transformative. As the last light faded and evening stars began to twinkle above, a small voice interrupted their contemplation. Mom! Callie! A little girl dashed over, her face streaked with cotton candy, her laughter bubbling like a spring. Jake felt his heart tighten again. It was his daughter, Mia. The warmth from earlier dulled slightly. How would she see this budding connection? Hey, sweet pea, he greeted, forcing a smile. What were you up to? Can you show me how to toss the ring again? I think I can win that big stuffed bear. Jake glanced at Callie, who mirrored his mixed emotions. This moment was interrupted, yet it held promise. Mia, why don't you hang out here a sec while I help you win that bear? Jake suggested, glancing back to Callie. And I'll catch up with you later. As he headed off with Mia, Jake wondered how far their paths would intertwine. What would happen next, when the heartstrings of music and memories connected them both? With every step, an inkling of hope blossomed in his chest, a light signaling the potential new journeys ahead. What would Mia think when she noticed the bond growing between her father and Callie? How would their stories change as they faced the music together? The playful sound of Mia's laughter danced through Jake's thoughts as they walked deeper into the fair. Every sound, every sight, seemed to swirl around him, creating a tapestry of budding hope and unexpected uncertainty. As they approached the ring toss booth, he found himself glancing back at Callie. She was still sitting there, the fading glow from the festival lights illuminating her from behind. What color do you want the bear to be? He asked Mia, crouching to meet her excited gaze. Pink. The big one there. She squealed, pointing at a towering plush bear that seemed to gleam with its bubblegum hue. All right, let us see what we can do. Jake focused, trying to shake off the lingering feelings from his moment with Callie. His heart felt split, caught between his responsibility as a father and the growing connection he was feeling with the young woman who had touched his heart in a way he wasn't ready to confront. Mia tossed the ring with all her might, but it landed far from the target. She huffed, crossing her arms. I can do better. You will. Just take a breath before you throw it again. Like this. He demonstrated, exaggerating the movements for her. They tried again and again, bringing the laughter and cheers of other fairgoers into their shared moment. With each toss, Jake felt the weight of his past push against him. Moments of joy felt tainted, overshadowed by the bittersweet memories of his daughter's absence. After several missed throws, Mia finally landed a ring on the edge of one of the bottles. See, Dad? I did it. Her enthusiasm was infectious, and Jake couldn't help but smile. You did. Now let us go claim your prize. He ruffled her hair, feeling lighter than he had in a long time. As they approached the booth to pick out the bear, Mia bounced in place, her excitement radiating. Jake found himself glancing back at Callie again, only to see her packing away her guitar. The moment shared with him now congealed into something precious and raw. I think I'll name him Buddy, Mia declared, clutching the large bear against her small frame as they walked back toward Callie. Jake's heart swelled at the sight of his daughter's wide grin, but the familiar shadow of guilt tugged at him too. Hey, Callie, look who won. Jake announced, trying to sound chipper as they approached. Callie's expression brightened as she looked at Mia and the stuffed bear. That's awesome. He looks huge. Perfect for hugs. Mia beamed, her joy reflecting the delight in Callie's eyes. Jake felt a pang of something softer digging deeper, a spark of connection that felt promising and daunting all at once. Coming here, Jake had merely wanted an escape, a chance for Mia to enjoy herself. But now, amidst laughter and bright lights, he was finding something he hadn't realized he yearned for. As they talked about Buddy, the conversation turned easy, flowing like an old river he hadn't crossed in years. Moments stretched into laughter, punctuated by Mia's imaginative tales about the adventures her bear would go on, yet in the back of his mind, a question loomed, one that felt too sharp to voice. What was happening here? Did he allow himself to reconnect after everything he had lost? Feeling the weight of expectations, Jake wondered if Mia sensed the undercurrent of something deeper between him and Callie. Did she feel the warmth that came with shared stories? Are you going to sing for us again? Mia asked, eyes bright with genuine excitement. Callie shook her head lightly, a slight blush creeping into her cheeks. Maybe another night, huh? Jake couldn't take his eyes off her, as the night deepened and the stars shone ever brighter overhead. There was a warmth in Callie's hesitance, a depth of emotion that tumbled through the air between them. Would they navigate this unfolding connection, or would the currents of fear pull them apart before they could truly explore it? As the energy shifted and laughter echoed around them, Jake felt the call of the future, mixed with memories of the past. He stole one last glance at Callie, lost in the moment, and realized that this journey was just beginning, with heartbeats threading between them. What lay ahead, and would they be brave enough to face it together? Jake couldn't shake the feeling settling in his chest as he watched Mia chatter animatedly about Buddy. There was something magnetic about Callie's presence, something that pulled him closer yet pushed him away, reminding him of the fragility of what he had lost. As the bright fair lights twinkled above them, he felt caught in a whirlwind of emotions, hope intertwined with fear. Let us go check out the carousel, Mia suggested, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Before Jake could respond, she was already tugging his hand, pulling him toward the colorful attraction. The gentle melody from the carousel painted a picture of carefree moments that seemed to contrast with Jake's swirling thoughts. Reluctantly, he followed. As they walked, he risked another glance at Callie. She was smiling, watching him with that same mix of curiosity and warmth. It felt like a weight hung between them, unspoken but palpable. They made their way to the carousel. Glistening horses bobbed up and down, painted in bright colors, all waiting for riders. Mia scrambled onto a golden-hued horse and looked back at him, her face glowing with delight. Next to Buddy, this is the best thing ever. Jake chuckled, settling onto the horse beside her. As the carousel spun to life, he could hear the crowd around him, see the myriad of faces filled with laughter and joy. But even amidst the lights and music, he felt that nagging uncertainty tethering him to the real world, the complexities of his past, the expectations of his heart. Mia gripped Buddy tightly, giving Jake a huge grin as the horse rose and fell under them. Look at me, Dad. I'm flying. Her laugh was pure, innocent, and it pierced through the fog hanging in Jake's heart. Just don't let go of Buddy, he joked, a smile breaking through his earlier tension. As they rode, Jake's mind drifted again. He wondered about Callie, the way her voice had danced with the notes of her guitar, how her laughter had felt like a gentle balm on his worn heart. The realization struck him hard. He had not just come to the fair for Mia, but for himself too. He was here to rediscover happiness, to remember what it felt like to truly live. When the carousel slowed, Mia's joyful squeals brought him back. Can we go again? Please, please. Jake nodded, his heart swelling with admiration for his daughter's spirit. Of course. One more time, he said, mimicking her enthusiasm, but as they returned to the line, he caught sight of Callie making her way past, guitar slung over her shoulder. Their eyes met briefly, and something sparkled, a recognition, an acknowledgement of potential futures not yet realized. Hey, Callie! Mia shouted, waving with all her might. Come ride with us. Jake felt his heart race. Was he really inviting her into their bubble of joy, daring to cross that line? Something told him this could open doors he had kept shut tight for far too long. Callie hesitated, a smile tugging at her lips, but uncertainty flashed in her eyes. She glanced at Jake, searching for something, permission, perhaps. Mia wants you to join us. Jake's voice was steadier than he felt. It'll be fun. The slight pause felt like an eternity. Then Callie stepped forward, the light guiding her as she approached. "I guess I can't say no to a ride and a new friend," she said, her smile blossoming. As they squeezed close together on the carousel, Jake could feel the warmth radiating from both Mia and Callie. Laughter intertwined with the music, and Jake realized that this was more than a simple ride. It was a moment, a flicker of hope that life could be vibrant again, but as the carousel whirled around, Jake's heart raced for another reason. Was this the start of something beautiful, or just another fleeting moment that would slip through his fingers? The thought echoed in his mind as they laughed and rode skyward, leaving a trail of joy behind. As the carousel slowed once more, he caught Callie's gaze, a silent conversation flowing between them, both searching for the next step, whatever it might be. Mia's laughter filled the air, oblivious to the tension simmering beneath. "Can we get corn dogs now? I'm starving." Jake felt a rush of relief, and maybe courage. "Sure," he said, leading them off the carousel, but deeper questions lurked. What were they really building here? As they wandered toward the food stalls, a soft graze of Callie's hand against his made Jake's skin tingle. What lay ahead felt promising yet uncertain, and he couldn't shake the feeling that the next few moments would be crucial. Would he embrace this growing bond, or let it slip away like everything else? The scent of sizzling corn dogs wafted through the air, mingling with laughter and the sounds of distant carnival rides. Jake led Mia and Callie down the fairway, his heart racing. Joy pulsed through his veins, but uncertainty lingered just beneath the surface. "2 large corn dogs, please." Jake called to the vendor, his voice full of enthusiasm as he exchanged money for food. The vendor grinned, handing over the crispy treats that glistened under the fairy lights. Mia bounced on her toes, her excitement uncontainable, while Jake turned to Callie. "Want to share one?" he asked, offering one of the freshly fried snacks. Callie's eyes sparkled, and she nodded. "Sure. I mean, who could resist?" They found a cozy spot on a low stone wall, where Mia dug into her corn dog like it was a treasure. "This is the best day ever," she exclaimed, her face full of delight as she wiped a glob of ketchup off her cheek. Jake couldn't stop smiling, catching glimpses of the simple happiness mirrored in Callie's eyes. As she took a bite, her laughter rang out, light and real. It warmed him in a way he hadn't felt in ages. In that moment, amidst the fair buzz, everything else fell away, the shadows of the past, the weight of his worries, and the decisions that loomed over him like a dark cloud. "What about you, Jake?" Callie asked, her voice suddenly earnest, disrupting his thoughts. "What do you want? I mean, really want?" He paused, feeling the gravity of her question. What did he want? He should be known by now. He wanted happiness, purpose, connection. He wanted to transform the remnants of grief into a vibrant future. "I want to dream again. Not just for me, but especially for Mia. I want her to grow up in a place filled with hope and love." His voice softened. "And I want someone to share those dreams with." Callie's gaze held fast, her expression thoughtful. "That's beautiful," she said, and he could almost hear the unspoken "and that someone might be me" swirling in the air. Just as he was about to respond, another wave of children flooded past, giggling as they chased colorful balloons. It pulled him momentarily from the tension, and he glanced at Mia, who squealed with joy. But as he turned back to Callie, time seemed suspended. There was something in her eyes, a flicker of understanding that ignited a deeper connection between them. "Sharing dreams is what brings people together," she said, her voice low but firm. "Music is my way of reaching out. I get it now, it's not just for me. It's for everyone who needs to hear it." He nodded, feeling something shift within him. Suddenly, a loud cheer erupted nearby, drawing their attention to the fairgrounds. A makeshift stage had come alive once more, overflowing with people who began to gather. Somebody was about to perform. "Oh, let us go check it out," Mia squealed, jumping up and down. Jake felt it then, a rush of spontaneity. "Let us do it." Come on. They joined the thrumming crowd, where lights danced above them, illuminating exhilarated faces. Mia was wide-eyed with wonder, and as they reached the front, they saw a local band tuning their instruments. Bluegrass strummed into the night, igniting a contagious electricity among the audience. Mia hopped excitedly. "Let us dance." Jake chuckled, glancing at Callie, who was smiling at them both, her eyes bright with possibility. "Alright, let us get your groove on." They began to sway, their movements simple but filled with joy. Laughter spilled into the air, echoing with the music. Jake felt a lightness in his heart, the shadows of his past retreating just a little further into the distance. As the music filled the space around them, Callie joined in, spinning gracefully, her laughter mixing with Mia's intoxicating cheer. The three of them became a whirlwind of joy, a living testament to hope rising from the ashes. Jake looked at Callie, the way her spirit burned bright, igniting a spark of courage within him. He realized then that he was not just healing himself but also opening the door for Mia, allowing her to witness the magic of community and connection. As the final song rolled into a crescendo, Jake couldn't ignore the undeniable truth that hung between them, the resonance of shared dreams and unvoiced feelings. Callie caught his gaze. "You know, Jake," she said, breathless from dancing, "life is too short to let fear dictate our steps. Let us take this leap together." His heart raced. "You mean, we build something beautiful from this moment. No more holding back." In that instant, the energy between them shifted, becoming something deeper. And then a realization struck. The melody of their journey had transformed the chaos into connection, the fear into courage. Just like Emma's song had helped change perspectives, they now found themselves on the precipice of their own shared song, a mingling of hopes and dreams that could blossom into something magnificent. Together, Jake affirmed, feeling certain for the first time in a long while. Time unfurled between them, soft and inviting, promising a future where dreams were no longer deferred. They embraced the moment as kindred spirits on a vibrant adventure, ready to face whatever came next. It was here, in the heart of Fort Sage, that hope took flight, echoing back through the wind, their song intertwining with the laughter of the fair, drifting skyward into the Texas stars. This was just the beginning. And you need to be part of this journey. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that are coming your way. Leave a like right now to help us feed the algorithm and keep the love spreading. Your thoughts mean the world, so comment below with your reactions and feelings about this incredible transformation. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this change. The magic of connection starts with you. This is the moment to show your support.